Okay, so let's take hockey, and minus one of the most important aspects, passing the puck forward. I know, it sounds like such a minuscule thing, but would the same players still be good? What would replace those long alley-oop passes we've gotten so used to? Or not. This nightmare I'm describing was a thing in the infant years of hockey as a sport, and I'm here to point out where those changes came from.
Passing's the quickest way of moving the puck forward, much faster than carrying it, so you can't work too much on the fundamentals.
At first you think there's nothing to the forward pass story, but eventually history comes and slaps you in the face with a story. In the early 20th century, hockey was a lot slower. That's usually accounted to players not being able to pass the puck forward. Mitch Marner would be freaking out if he heard this. Anyways, with no forward passing, the game was a lot slower, with players trying to maneuver themselves into the offensive zone rather than just attempting to pass the puck forward. The earliest sign of forward passing goes back to the 1880s, where players from Nova Scotia had adopted passing the puck forward. When playing some games against Quebec, every other game was played with forward passing or backward passing styles. This way of hockey wasn't adopted, but it was a stepping stone. Putting ourselves in 1913, Frank and Lester Patrick have been running the PCHA. If you know any history about hockey, then you know that these two were driving forces in developing hockey into what it is today. Blue lines, the Patricks. Boarding calls, the Patricks. Allegedly coaching one of the Stanley Cup playoff games drunk? Well, that was just Frank, and maybe Babcock after what I saw in Game 7. The Patricks thought limiting the forward pass to the neutral zone would help speed up the game and add more scoring opportunities. The fans against the forward pass thought it would cause more loafing penalties. In this case, many thought players would just stay in the neutral zone waiting for a pass. It's an absurd rule, as the teams will discover as the season progresses, the Toronto Daily Star. Many others who didn't mind the change would compare the passing to lacrosse and football, where this style didn't really ruin the game. After the 1913-14 season, the Victoria Aristocats challenged the Toronto Blue Shirts for the Stanley Cup, which any amateur team could compete for. One condition was to switch between PCHL and NHA rule sets. Toronto swept Victoria 3-0, but would never forget the forward pass. If we had to play 2 games a week under these rules, we would never finish the season, said Toronto captain Jack Marshall. Oh man, good luck Jack, cause you're not gonna like what's coming. The next year, the Vancouver Millionaires challenged the Ottawa Senators for the Stanley Cup, and with the skills they had in the forward pass were able to take the cup home. Ottawa was so confident they weren't going to lose, they didn't even bring the cup to Vancouver. NHA players were practicing in anticipation of games using the forward pass, but nobody could keep up with the West Coast team's passing skills. Once the NHA folded in 1916 and became the NHL, they incorporated the forward pass into their game. But remember, we're only at the neutral zone. We still need it for the defensive and offensive zone. In 1921, goalies were allowed to pass the puck forward to any player in their zone, making them the only ones able to in the defensive zone, and also explaining why goalies have gotten into the habit of playing the puck so much. They were probably the only ones who could do it back in the day. In 1928, the NHL finally let anyone pass forward in the defense and neutral zones, and then the next year allowed it all across the ice. Do you want to know why? To encourage more scoring. Yeah, that's pretty much the only reason over time they added it, but look at hockey now. The sport went from this stiff-looking, slowed-down version of itself to a game that sometimes can be hard to keep track of. But isn't that one of the reasons that we all find this game so much fun to watch? Be sure to leave me some suggestions for future videos in the comment section below. Liking the video also goes a long way, and thank you so much for having my last video, The History of Hockey Helmets, blow up the way it did. I never expected anywhere near the amount of views I got, or even the subscribers I have now. So if you guys like the content, be sure to stick around, and I hope to give you guys more videos to watch. I'll see you guys when I see you guys.